Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we got to discuss things involving Dylan Harper. Is crazy stuff going on right now because he has compared his game to the likes of James Harden, SGA, Cade Cunningham, and company. Is the list goes on. So this is the kind of player that could really jump on the NBA scene. We're gonna break it all down. Obviously, Dallas, we know where they're going with it, but things get real interesting with San Antonio potentially. And then obviously Philadelphia. You have Charlotte there. Is a lot of things that could happen in that little radius, in that three pick radius. And we're gonna break it all down, ladies and gentlemen. But this is some real spectacular news to say the least. Obviously, Dylan Harper is the truth. We all know he is the top point guard of this class. Um, and we all know teams need a point guard. A lot of teams could use him, but when you do look at San Antonio, they look locked up there with Fox. Obviously, you just got the rookie of the year in Stephon Castle, Philadelphia, and Tyrese Maxey. I want. I believe that Dylan Harper is going to be the centerpiece potentially of a massive trade, especially if Dallas goes a different direction. They are under a lot of pressure with the Cooper flag thing. They may have to hold on to Cooper flag. Then that opens up the door for teams like San Antonio and many others, because I believe Dylan Harper could be the centerpiece of a big Giannis trade. And a lot of people know and they are seeing that on the horizon, but they kind of are leaning towards Cooper flag being moved. But there's a lot of things going on with that. You got the situation with Kyrie, the knee that's not going to all be together. Are they? I don't know. We got to figure out what is, part of me, what are the Dallas Mavericks going to do? Because they hold all the cards here, you know. And then, like I said, SGA is a player that, like I said, if he wants to compare himself to SGA, look what he's doing, leading the Oklahoma City Thunder to the Western Conference Finals. They look like they are on the cusp of an NBA championship. Listen, shout out to SGA. He rose out the ashes of OKC. Obviously, he came from the Clippers. We all know what happened with PG. But OKC was in turmoil after Durant left, and now they are finally looking like they are going to have that dynasty potentially. Who knows what's going to happen with Oklahoma City? But something tells me we are going to be seeing this team for a very, very long time. And if Dylan Harper wants to be a player like SGA, that's going to be some big shoes to fill. Then we go to James Harden. A lot of people criticize James Harden. He's this, he's that. You even had Kobe Bean Bryant come out and say, "Hey, listen, he's a player like James Harden is not going to win a championship in the style of play that he plays in." James Harden averaged this season 22 points per game, shooting 41% from the field, 35% from three, but they still took an exit in the first round. So no matter how good things could have went, um, James Harden still has his playoff failures, but James Harden is a good player for a guy like Dylan Harper. He's 6'5". James Harden is 6'5". So I mean, this could really be a big time thing in terms of who he wants to be. We could be looking at the next elite scorer in the NBA being drafted. If he falls to Charlotte, we all know the ramifications of that, deal. That's not going to be really a good look up in Charlotte, especially when you have LaMelo Ball there. Harper is coming off of a stellar freshman season, which where he averaged 19 points per game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. So clearly you see the trajectory of a guy like that putting up 19 just in college. So you know this guy is going to be a 20-point per game scorer in the league. I want to read some quotes. It says just big guards who know how to control the game, control the pace, and just know when they need to score. When they don't need to score, then they know when they need to give someone a touch. They ain't touch it. The most important thing I part of me that I like about all of them is that they make the team around them a lot better. So these are the quotes from Dylan Harper. So Dylan Harper is 6'6", to be exact. Some people list him as 6'5", but just at the NBA Combine, he is 6'6", which is a big guard, especially at point guard. We see a lot of these bigger guards coming in, and really able to put the pressure on the defense. And I believe like I said, we can see it firsthand with Dylan Harper. The skills that he has offensively. So I'm looking at the trajectory that they got him at, and it's very high. They Everybody, if you look at every mock draft that's being reported, they have Dylan Harper going number 2 to the San Antonio Spurs. So it's gonna be crazy to see what happens, because they got a nice little pairing over there. And Stephon Castle, he's like a 2 guard. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're gonna be able to mix and master some things. Bottom line is San Antonio is gonna have some assets on their hands. He is the best player available after Cooper Flag. So I'm expecting San Antonio to take him and potentially either keep him or move him. But things could get interesting if San Antonio was to pick, somebody else. What if, San Antonio love their foreigners, who knows what they're going to do, but they did strike gold with Castle, so I think that they're going to do the right thing here and draft the best player available. I repeat. So as we lead into this draft and this upcoming, the lottery is over, more and more things and news is going to come out. Things are going to get more interesting, and we're going to break it down because you're going to hear what's happening in San Antonio, what's echoing out of there. Are they going for Giannis? What's happening with Dallas? Because you got to watch out for Dallas because they got the best trade chip with that number 1 pick. So they could get anything they want. It's all up to what they want to do. What does Nico Harrison want to do? It's Flight Sports TV. We're going to be bringing more news updates and more. I wanted to bring this news update for you that Dylan Harper, the projected number 2 overall pick, has compared himself to the likes of James Harden, Shai Gilgeous Alexander, Cade Cunningham. So, let's see what happens. It's Flight Sports TV. Peace and love.